What's going on? This is Byron Cooke. I am the host of A Dose of Positive. And thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. The idea is really simple. I want you to feel good. I want you to learn from successful people who are at the top of their game. They're going to give you usable bits of information that can help you lift your life. Let's do this together. Enjoy. What a perfect guest for A Dose of Positive. This is a young Melburnian who has racked up quite a few views on various social media platforms, and his platform is one of positivity. And I thought, hang on, this guy'd be perfect early on for A Dose of Positive. Samuel Weidenhofer, welcome to A Dose of Positive, bro.
Hi, Byron. Thank you for having me. And yeah, it's my first ever podcast, believe it or not. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, hopefully I can steer you through this idea of audio content, right? Because I've done this for about 20 years, so I think I've got a rough idea as to how to do audio content. But I tell you what, when it comes to video content, I'll be taking notes, bro. You are the king. How old are you?
I am 19 years of age, so I finished year 12 last year.
Okay, so it's Sazza. I'm an Instagram guy. There's this thing called TikTok that apparently is pretty big. I should spend more time on it. You are TikTok, you are Instagram. You are a video creator, and it's all about kindness. And we're going to, for those of you who've been living under a rock and haven't seen one of his TikToks or anything on Instagram, we will go through some of the most memorable pieces of content and have a nice positive conversation about the impact that you're having, Sam. But it's Sazza. Can you give us a general sense of how many views you've had across TikTok and Instagram with your positive content?
I'd say in total, TikTok and Instagram combined about 1.5 billion views, and about 150 million likes. So
1.5 billion. Does it have that many zeros on it? Can it go that high?
I don't know how many zeros that is, but
now I want to get a sense of why you do what you do. Actually, you know what? This isn't what we discussed in the planning. We had about a 5-minute planning meeting before we started, but I want to play an example of one of your videos right now, and then we'll talk about why you do what you do. So straight up, tell me about this basketball fan called Kyler. Now, this is one of hundreds of people that you've helped through the vehicle of TikTok and Instagram to tell their stories and make a difference in their lives. So tell us a bit about a young dude called Kyler.
Yep, so I had an opportunity. The Portland Trail Blazers reached out to me to go over to America, and I had to look for someone who needed help. And I came across Kyler, who was in a car accident, and he got run over twice by the canteen lady at his school, believe it or not. So that led to him getting bullied a lot, and he just needed a massive act of kindness in his life. Growing up, he was always a Portland Trail Blazers fan, so I went over to America to put a smile on his face and help him through such a difficult time.
All right, let's check it out right now.
What's your biggest dream?
To be in the NBA. I like basketball, and I think I'm pretty good at it. I saw a dog, and I tried to save it, and a car came, and I thought it was stopping, and it hit me. She ran over me twice.
We're going to make a dream come true today. We got you a courtside seat to tonight's game.
Oh my God. Thank you for helping me get to what I wanted in life. Thank you.
Wow, you saw him at the end there with Damian Lillard, who's one of the absolute superstars of world sport. He's hitting free throws, he's getting things signed. So how much of a difference does that make to a kid like Kyler? Because here's one thing I love about what you do. Yes, lots of people see your content. You're able to change lives in that moment. But you follow through, bro. I know that you talk to these people afterwards. You check in on them. So, like, How was that for the kid?
He's such an amazing and a strong kid. His family is so beautiful. After that night, his family were holding me and they're like, you can be our new son. You can be part of our family. We love you and the impact you've made on our family. Once, all through my America trip, once I left and went home, I would call them, they'd call me, and they'd always message me to say, you've had such a big impact on his life. This has helped his bullying so much, and he just has a different outlook on life. As a young kid who's been through so much and so much pain and so much bullying, now he has a different outlook to that bullying, and he can take positives out of those negatives, and it's just inspired him to go so much further and to chase his dreams. And he wants to be an NBA player, so we could see him there in 10 years. Who knows?
Wow, that's awesome, man. So look, I just wanted to start with an example of what you're doing. And, you could argue I should have done this before we did that, but I just wanted people to see it.
Yep.
Tell me about why you do what you do. Because, look, in this world, this is a dose of positives, so we only focus on the positives. But often when someone's doing something cool or that's a bit different, people come after them. And you've got, for whatever reason, critics who come after you. But please explain why you do what you do.
I do what I do because I knew what it was like to feel alone, and I didn't want anyone else to feel that way. I was born with a speech impediment, and I wanted to turn that negative into a positive and use that voice to actually help people rather than look at the negatives. And, if I was to look at the negatives, it would just spiral me into more depression. So I decided to be confident and to just use that voice to, make an impact in this world and to help people.
Yeah, and I tell you, whatever this impediment was, you're sitting here on a podcast as a 19-year-old dude, and you're so articulate and so well-spoken. You've clearly worked through that, mate, because your communication is outstanding.
Yeah, so I went through lots of speech therapy, and I struggled to talk up until I was about 6 or 7 years old. Even my mum would take me to constant therapy, and I just worked through that, and I worked really hard. Even my speech therapist now is like, it's actually crazy how far you've come. All those people who were there with me at such a young age knew I could hardly talk, so I can't even believe how fluent I can talk now.
So for any young people, if you're listening to this right now and you're someone who has that type of issue, maybe at school or whatever, even older people who have that issue and who cop it. I mean, the world can be a mean place. It's not our world here on A Dose of Positive, but when you go outside of our bubble of A Dose of Positive, the world can actually be a bit of a mean place. What would you say to someone who might have faced those same challenges that you faced when you were a kid with their communication skills? This could even apply to someone who's just very, very shy or awkward.
I would just say learn to be confident. Honestly, anxiety is such a hard thing, and I struggled with that as well because of my speech. But I realized growing up, why would I ever listen to the bullies? And what I mean by that is, as I became successful, I saw all these kids bullying me, working at McDonald's, working at KFC, and coming back to me and saying, I want to be friends with you. And if I look at that from a positive way, I'm like, why would I let those words affect me? Because what you'll notice is if you actually chase towards your dreams, none of that's going to matter. If you actually learn to be confident, that can lead to a lot of success. And
yeah. Well, you've certainly done very well. I mean, we're not mad at anyone that's putting in a hard day's work anywhere. But the reality is, if someone is coming at you, you need to be able to confidently come back, hold yourself in a strong place and say, right, no, this is my path, this is what I'm doing. And I suppose don't let someone make you fearful to try, because you have one thing you've done from that very early age, you've certainly tried, haven't you? You haven't stopped trying, and now look at you, you're reaching, well, billions of eyeballs as it turns out, or it's probably many, many million a few times over, but it's still lots of people.
Yeah, definitely. And I found that took years for me to find what I truly wanted to do. I always wanted to be a YouTuber or be an AFL player, and I would just never stop giving up. I'd always keep looking for a new avenue to try and, pursue what I want to do. And that comes with a lot of teenagers. They should be looking for their passion, because so many people are saying it's fine, it doesn't matter, you'll find what you want to do later in life. But if you actually pursue that and look for your passion, you'll probably find it at a younger age.
I remember being a teen, and maybe because it was a bit before the age where you were a teen, maybe it hasn't changed, but like, you were afraid to stand out in a way. You sort of wanted to fit in a way, and the things that made you different, you kind of at the time were ashamed of almost. Whereas as you get older, you realise the things that make you different are genuinely the things that make you stand out. They can be your assets, you know. And so for you, you stood out. But that's a good it's a good thing that you stood out, right? It's not a bad thing to stand out.
It's definitely a good thing. If I didn't have that courage to stand out, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I couldn't look back and go, I've helped all these people. I put a smile in their lives. All it took was for me to be able to be confident in standing out and to be different, because you actually being confident and you pursuing what you want to do makes you. Like, you can't let someone else's opinion of you change that. So.
Yeah. No, well, you should be very proud. And look, I don't want to pry, or I'd like to think we're in a comfortable space here, and we don't have to go into any great detail, but you copped bullying as a kid. You know, you were the kid with the speech impediment. You stood out. You had your issues and challenges. And then, look, I know that you faced an incredibly life-changing situation involving your late auntie. We don't have to dig into that too deep, but I do think it's good for people to understand that this is another driver as to why you do what you do for people. This is why you lob and see strangers on Burke Street Mall and say, hey, are you doing all right? Because of what happened. Can you talk about it just a little bit?
Yeah. So I lost my auntie to mental health at a young age, and I was the first one to answer the phone call to my uncle, and that was heartbreaking growing up.
When it happened, you had to deal with that in the moment?
I had to deal with that in the moment.
At how old?
It was 7 or 8 years
Oh, man.
old.
Yeah, so that's a lot.
So I had to give the phone to my mum, and I didn't understand. They didn't come back to the next day, my mum and my dad, and they just said, your auntie passed. And that was heartbreaking for me. That's why I go out in the mall now and open my arms, because I don't want anyone else to, like, lose their life to mental health. Even if I can save one life, like, that's my job done. So
absolutely. And look, at least in Australia, if there are any issues around this area, 13 11 14 is the Lifeline resource. They also have online resources as well. It's just important to point that out. I want to jump into more of your content. How many views again did you say across TikTok and Instagram?
I'd say 1.5 billion, which is absolutely crazy to believe.
1.5 billion,
and that's been achieved in the past 18 months as well. So it's,
All right, Sazza. We'll get to why you called Sazza as well in a second. Okay, let's talk about, and we're just plucking these. You will have done how many of these videos would you have done now?
Probably 400 to 500 videos, I think.
Wow, 400 or 500. Okay, well, I'm plucking 3 out of your 400, bro. What about Tanika and Paul? Tell me a bit about their story.
So Tanika and Paul are two amazing people. They unfortunately lost their son in a drowning in Coolum Beach in Queensland about 1.5 years ago, which was just so heartbreaking for them. And yeah, all right. And there is a method behind how you find these people. We'd probably be talking for half an hour to sort of work out how you find all of these people. I'd imagine with your platform the size that it is now, it might be a little bit easier to find these stories, because it might be as simple as putting it out there to say, hey, I'm looking for someone who is looking for a certain experience. Is that how these days you would find these people who are in need? Yep. So the last probably 3 months, I've reached out to charities and other foundations which help me find families. I still keep it as genuine as possible, but I'd rather help a family who actually needs help. To me, that feels more genuine than approaching a family on the street who have no issues at all and they could afford that for themselves. I'd rather take someone who actually needs the act of kindness, and it can be life-changing for them. Like, you would never think taking a family to a water park or something could change their life, but to a family who actually really needs that and has never got to experience that could mean so much to them.
All right, I want to check out Tanika and Paul right now. Here we go from It's Sazza on Instagram and on TikTok with his 1.5 billion views in about 4 weeks. Here we go.
Looking to take it out as a family today. What do you guys think?
What do you guys reckon?
Yes.
I want to show you on my phone. Is that all right?
Yeah.
There's actually been $8,000 for you guys as a family.
Oh my goodness.
I've raised $8,000.
When I see you again, we've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you.
You guys literally deserve the world. Yes.
Damn, who knew all the planes we flew?
And it's so powerful, man. Like the reaction from the family there. Keeping in mind this is your first podcast, a lot of the appeal of your content is that visual impact, and to see the looks on the faces of the lives that you're changing. That must just give you such a positive energy.
Yeah, definitely. Even some days I can struggle, but every day I try and look back on all the lives, that I've made an impact to, and all the people that have smiled, and just giving that positive energy to people just honestly changed my life. And it helped me a lot too. When I started this page, I'd still struggle with mental health a fair bit, and this page has actually like fully cured me and made me happy. Like I've never been happier because of, just giving back to people.
And why are you It's Sazza? Can we talk about Sazza for a minute?
So that was a name I got called in primary school. In my primary school years, I dealt with a lot of bullying, and me being able to look back on that name every day just gives me that motivation to want to help more people and to put a smile on people's faces. I want to take that negative into a positive. So every day I look at that and I go, this is how far I've come, and I'll never I'll never forget I was that kid who was bullied and struggled so much with my mental health.
And it's not all rainbows and unicorns on this podcast, bro. Like, yes, it's about positivity, and it's about everybody being the best people that they can be. And hopefully each week we hear someone that inspires us. You're an example of that this week. But in a way, even if the motivation behind your positive energy or the things that you're doing is angry or is a bit nasty, as long as the impact is positive, it sort of almost doesn't matter how you get there. If your motivation is, hey, you know what, I'm going to prove those fuckwits wrong. That's, whilst it doesn't sound overly positive, if it fuels you to make a difference, then it ends up being positive. You know what I mean? It's a fine line, but do you get that?
Yeah, I agree. I just think as long as you can help someone, even who knows, people might not know my intentions at all if they don't know me personally, but it doesn't change. Like, that act of kindness to someone can change their life. It can save a life. Hugging some stranger on the street. I've had strangers bawl out in my arms before. That can literally change their life. So, like, why hate on it? And some people do, but it's literally saved. I know it saved lives. I've had DMs from people saying, you saved my life. I was about to, jump off a bridge literally, and I came across your video and I took the step back and went home and thought about it. So
you've actually had that conversation with someone.
I've actually had that conversation. A lady messaged me about a month ago saying she was about to jump off a bridge and my video saved her life. And I've had about 30 to 40 messages through the past year and a half of literally saying your video literally saved my life. So
here's the thing, bro. And I wasn't sure if we were going to go there, but let's just go there. It's a dose of positive, but let's just go there because it is something that I think should be addressed because you were on a lot of tabloids a few weeks ago, Daily Mail. What a reputable place that is. Whew, get stuffed if you're listening, Daily Mail. But there's this criticism behind what you're doing from very small pockets. And, of course, as we know, the way that the mainstream media works is they will look for that one nugget of negativity and then blow it up big time in their pursuit of clicks, ironically, because was their criticism of you not that you're just pursuing views and clicks, which, by the way, is exactly what they do every day with heinous, horrible articles that are disgusting, whereas the worst crime we could charge you with is that you might have made some money from a sponsor to help you continue to make this stuff and have an impact. Can you understand where some of that criticism came from? There's a few articles and there was a bit of social media blowback against you. I heard a few other influencer types having a bit of a crack at you. But to be honest, probably because they're not getting the same amount of views. I mean, sorry, I'm calling it like it is.
Yeah.
Can you understand where any of that criticism comes from? Or I guess in the spirit of this podcast, you just block it out and keep doing what you're doing?
So, yeah, with all the negative feedback, I get a lot of it. Some articles saying you make this much money a month because they're the ones looking to literally get clicks so more people click on the article. What they don't know is like nearly all my profit goes back into what I do apart from, you know, my life and paying rent and food. That's from the brand sponsors, but I try and just ignore the hate because it can really bring you down into a spiral. One comment can affect you. And when I started this page, it was like that. I would get negative comments and take them so harshly. Now I've actually learned to look at the positive, you know, positivity of them sending me that message. And I'm like, what point in their life are they at to send a message to me hating on me for being a good person? They don't know what my intentions are. So I kind of just laugh at it and go, they must actually be going through a tough time. Why not send them a message saying, I hope you're doing okay? The response on that is hilarious.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of different ways you could deal with online hate, and there's a few different schools of thought. One is just block and report. Another is to engage, and there's a whole, I mean, the amount you would get, you probably wouldn't have time because all you'd be doing would be responding to it and you wouldn't be helping people. So I guess in a way, keep your eye on the prize, which is what you're doing. So it's kind of like I don't want to get too distracted by some of this noise, because if I let it get to me, I wouldn't be doing really what you've been put here to do, which is to help people, right?
Yeah, I just try and focus on the positives. Very rarely I respond to a message like of hate, and if it is, I'm just like, I love you, I hope you're doing all right. And I just find it funny to get that response from someone.
Cheers. Yeah. Appreciate the hate. Because, okay, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it before we get into another one of your awesome videos. Right, okay. Worst case scenario, and this is actually not what's happening, but worst case scenario, right? You've done these 500 videos, you've had 1.5 billion views across the two main platforms, right? Worst case scenario, you literally made $50 million from that, and you come into my apartment here, my home studio, dripping in gold chains and watches and Rolexes and all that stuff, right? With about 5 hangers-on and a security entourage, right? I'm saying worst case, okay?
Yeah.
If that was the case, but along the way, you'd done all of these things that we know you've done, and you speak to the people that you've helped, and we could call any of them right now and they'd be like, yeah, Sazza, it was amazing, it changed my life. If along the way you did all that, I actually don't care if you got here in a helicopter. I don't care, bro, because you're making a difference. And this is where I do get a little bit fired up about negativity, because it's like, hello, whoever you are criticizing this kid, he's 19 years old. He's probably made the odd mistake in the way he's done his content here and there, but you know what? He's a kid. He's learning. He's growing. In a way, who cares if you had made $1 million? It doesn't change the fact that you've had this impact on people, right?
No, I can't agree more. And I think there's so many worse places to be in as a 19-year-old. Like,
yes,
especially like when I went to a public school, even a private school, there's so much negativity and, you know, so many different outlets, and you can go on a wrong path, but I'm literally spending 95% of my time to help others. So why does it matter what my intentions are at the end of the day? Because at least I gave that, you know, all those families hope and spreaded all that kindness to people. And like, one life is more important than $50 million, right? And if I've got 40 messages saying I've saved 40 lives, well, you know what I mean? There you have it. So.
No, good. I want to play another one of these videos because these are just cool, and we're plucking these ones out. Tell us a little bit about Isabella, who's from Coffs Harbour in northern New South Wales.
Yep, so I approached Isabella at the drive-thru, actually with Cam Merchant, who was on Married at First Sight a couple years ago. One of the good ones, though. The only good one, I think.
Good on you, Cam.
He runs a mental health page now. So does his wife, Jules. But yeah, we approached Isabella at the Coffs Harbour drive-thru on a road trip to kindness, not expecting much. And we decided to ask a fast food worker, what's your biggest dream? And we came across Isabella, and when we asked her that, she was practically in tears. She just said, life is so hard. I just want to escape this town. I want to travel. So then me and Cam went on a journey to surprise her and give her $500 towards that. And then we opened a fundraiser and took that further. So
wow. All right. I just want to share a bit of that video right now because this was just really cool. This is Isabella. Literally, she's got the headset on. Like this is the full drive-through experience, right? Like, she's literally working. You're in a car. Did you actually order some food as well while you were there?
She's literally working. We ordered a frozen Coke just to get something.
Good. You got to get something. Yeah. Okay, let's watch this. Let's check it out and listen to it on the pod.
We've raised $3,000 for Isabella to travel the world. Here's a quick recap, and we're going to give it to you today.
What's your biggest dream in life?
Travel the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been struggling with anything through?
Everyday life. Life is hard.
Like I love.
Can you open it up? The GoFundMe is at $3,000. How are we?
I'm very
We got
good.
you a gift. Open this. There's $3,000 in there. Is it? There's $3,000 in there so you can travel the world.
Thank you so much.
It's okay.
You have no idea. Oh my god.
Where are you going?
I've booked my anniversary with my boyfriend.
So, man, here's the thing. To see the look on her face there, and I believe there was a follow-up where you actually wrote her an even bigger check, didn't you? Like, that was crazy.
Yeah, so we actually went back and surprised her with $4,000. 3 weeks later, she went on a holiday to New Zealand with her boyfriend, which, yeah, she had the time of her life. So she actually acted on that and did want to travel. So, you know, that makes it feel even more genuine. It was funny, the amount of backlash at first, $500 to travel the world, thousands of comments, people like getting mad. It's stupid. But
what you should have done is bugger all. See, because apparently 0 is better than 500. In the mind of a critic who just wants to be a pain in the ass, 0 doing nothing is better than doing something, and this is where negativity loses me. Negativity is stupid. I mean, that is some of the dumbest criticism I've ever heard. Now, yes, okay, does $500 take you around the world 3 times? No, but it's a fucking start, right? And then you ended up doing more anyway.
And I think it made such a big impact on her mental health as well. She messaged me saying, thank you so much. Like, I'm so happy. I've really improved. I had the best time in New Zealand with my boyfriend. So, you know, that just means a lot to show that even it could be a small act of kindness, but to her, it means a lot more than that. Someone struggling with their mental health, it can change their life. So
yeah, and you stay in touch with these people, including her, so that's how you know that she did all that, is because, you know, you'll check in with her now and then. Hey, Isabella, how you going? And you know that travel has changed her life. So that's a credit to you, bro.
Yeah, definitely. So all the people I take on experiences and try and help their families, I always try and keep in contact to see how they're doing. And most of them do the same for me as well and say, you know, I'm proud of what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing, which that gives me an extra push to like help more families. And you get to meet so many lovely people, so many struggling families who they're just normal. They've just been through more than others. So
yeah, now can I end on this thought? And it's a sense that I get from your content that I've felt over the last few years, right? So even someone like me, I'm not getting 1.5 billion views on TikTok, I can admit that. But, you know, in my little patch in Melbourne, a few people know me from doing the radio. You know, I've got a little bit of a following or whatever, right? I might have 30,000 Instagram friends. I might get lots of DMs. I might even get lots of reacts. I might be lucky enough to get lots of likes on a certain video. I don't necessarily, and this is not get out the violin time, but I don't necessarily have very many friends. Like, my mum passed away about 6 or 7 years ago, and she was the most important figure in my life. I've had challenges with my brother. My dad lives in regional Queensland for various reasons. He has every right to live up there, but it's a long, long, long way away from where I am. I have a son in America who is with his mother who's American. And sometimes I'm lonely, bro. And I don't think I'm alone. So I am a classic example of what I'm getting to with my point. We could look like we're really popular, but we're not necessarily popular in the sense of how many people, if I was on fire, would actually piss on me, you know? Like when it came to the crunch, right? Like, do you think from your experience of walking the streets and offering a hug to people that there is, despite our connectivity digitally, quite a bit of loneliness out there, and we need to keep working on that as a community?
I definitely think so. And whenever someone brings up mental health, the first thing they might say is, we were so much better than 5 years ago. We're so much better. We take mental health more seriously, but we forget how much left there is to go and how many people are struggling. I even get lonely at times. I have two real friends. I'm away from my family. I'm away from all my friends. So I've literally got my girlfriend figure in my life, and that's it. So at times I can get lonely too. And I think we always do focus on we've come this far, but we never think how far we have to go. And there's still such a long way to go with mental health. And I don't believe it's normalized yet at all. A lot of workplaces will take a joke about having a mental health day, and that's where I think we go wrong.
Right.
But yeah, loneliness is very common. So.
And here's the thing, and we don't have to be on completely the same page with everything. I think we talk about mental health, and that's a very valid discussion, and some people are diagnosed with certain mental health conditions, and there might be a prescription of drugs for that, or it could be any number of different treatments. And so, okay, even if we just park that to one side and we just look at the simple aspect of living life, regardless of whether you want to call it mental health, life is full of ups and downs. Life is full of good times and bad times. And at least the last maybe 2 years for me, Sam, like particularly probably about 6 months ago, things got a lot better for me and a lot easier. But there was a phase for about a year there where things weren't going particularly well. I'd taken on a new project. I took a huge amount of risk on it. I threw away a lot of stuff. And it was amazing how few people were there. Now, I'm not bitching and moaning, but I'm just saying when things are good, it's amazing how many people are around. But when things aren't so good, some of them do go missing, right? And so if we can make the point that you're out there doing this stuff every day, you're making a difference to people's lives. Yep. But regardless, when the cameras are switched off, when you're not doing your TikToks, when I'm not doing radio shows, I just think we could all be better, including me. I probably could have been a better friend to people. We should make sure we check in more often with the people that we supposedly care about and not just leave them hanging. Why do we assume that someone else is handling it?
Yeah, I can't agree more, and I think we do get very obsessed with social media. I actually don't use my phone apart from work, to be honest with you. I'd rather check in on people in real life if I can, but we do a lot of the time forget to check up on people, and a lot of it's done over the phone, and yeah. Yeah,
I think, and I need to get better at this, a phone call. Like, no one makes fucking phone calls anymore. It's a quick DM or whatever. Don't you reckon, and I need to be better at this, so I'm not just being the victim and saying, oh, everyone deserted me. Like, I have probably not been good enough for others, so it's a two-way street. But, maybe we should all get better at picking up a phone, and, it would almost be considered weird in this society now to just ring someone for no reason. You'd be like, why are you calling?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There actually seems to be a stigma over phone calls. People hate phone calls, so it's not really common, but it's no different to talking to someone in person. You just can't see them. So
yeah, well, bro, I know I got a bit sidetracked there at the end, but
no, that's fine.
No, but it's important. I just think everybody experiences challenges, and of course, it's to varying degrees. And you will have discovered that along the way about 500 different stories that you've told on TikTok and on Instagram. I ask this of everybody at the end of my episodes. If you could just, generally speaking, say something right now to someone who's a bit down and out or feels like they need more direction or they just need a pump up, they need a dose of positive, what might you say to them, bro?
I would just say to literally like fucking chase your dreams. Like chase your dreams because times are gonna get tough. But what you'll realize is if you actually pursue and you chase your dreams, they will come true and it will be hard, but you just have to literally chase your dreams and don't take anyone else's opinion at all apart from your own. This is crazy, but go with your heart and not your mind. Seriously. Your heart's going to make you happy. Your mind isn't always going to make you happy.
Beautifully said, bro. Like, for a 19-year-old, like when I was 19, you don't even want to fucking know what I was doing. I definitely wasn't making TikToks for 1.5 billion people. I think I was at Patrick's nightclub at Pennant Hills in Sydney having dollar drinks. So, bro, you've probably made a little bit more of an impact at 19 than most. It almost feels redundant to promote your Instagram and your TikTok because everybody has found it. But for those who haven't, can you throw it out there, please, for anyone who hasn't found you on Instagram and on TikTok?
Yep. So it's on Instagram and TikTok. It's Sazza. So ITSSOZER.
Great stuff, man. I just want to, for anyone watching this on YouTube, I'm very excited that A Dose of Positive is on all the podcast platforms, iHeart, our good friends at iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, but I am on YouTube now, bro, and you've probably noticed I'm switching, like, there you are. See, now you're on the camera.
Yeah.
And now I'm on the camera. I think I did some really bad work through that. So I think sometimes when I was talking, the camera was on you, and sometimes when you were talking, the camera was on me.
It would take a fair bit to get used to. But thank you for having me on the Dose of Positive, and yeah, I just hope that this message does
resonate. Is that the word you're looking for?
Resonate with people, and it can help people going through a tough time. So,
well, man, you just keep doing what you're doing. I'm stoked that you got to hang out and continued positivity, bro. If I shake your hand, does that go on both cameras? There we go. There we go. Thanks. Appreciate it, Sam.
No, that's all good. Thank you for having me.